Alrighty, folks, it is Saturday, August 2nd, 2025, and we're coming fresh off a 5-2 day on my premium page yesterday for Friday. We had the Brewers, Dodgers, Padres, Rangers plus 1.5 on the run line, and we also cashed in on a 2-team parlay. And the only way you could have accessed all those winners is to join my full access, all-inclusive Gold Club package. Gold Club members get access to every single premium selection of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. And folks, we're also hitting at 75% in our last 13 board member tier package plays as well. And the good news is I've got another board member play going off here today for Saturday. That play is already posted and ready for access in the post section. And before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick time out and welcome you to my free pick video here today for Saturday, August 2nd, 2025. Happy Saturday to you. Hopefully you had a great start to the weekend. I know we did with 5 winning tickets. And yeah, if did I introduce you? Yes, sorry, brain's all. My name is Brock Page. I've been dishing out free sports picks on YouTube since 2016. Of course, if you don't need access to all of my premium selections, but maybe you could use like one a day, my daily best play is going to run you just $1.99 for 30 days worth of access. The math works out to be just 6 cents a day. I also have plenty of free content on my premium page as well, including my current overall win-loss record. You don't have to pay to look at that. That's available right in the post section. All you got to do is just scroll down until you find it. I currently have over 2,600 members who are signed up and active on my premium page. And with that, let's go ahead and dive into some free content. Going to start off with the Dodgers at the Rays, 110 Eastern first pitch. The Dodgers are minus $1.20, totals 8.5. Blake Snell for the Dodgers, Drew Rasmussen for Tampa Bay. And as good as Rasmussen's been this season, the Rays are struggling a bit as an organization. They're currently on a 4-game skid, and they also took the loss in 8 out of their last 9. And out of their last 10 gatherings with the Dodgers, Tampa Bay's really struggled with Dodger hitting. LA averaged 5.6 runs a game during that 10-game stretch. And as far as this season's concerned, well, LA is currently a top 3 run-scoring team. Will Smith's hitting .325 with an OPS of .970. And Teoscar Hernandez is second on the roster in runs batted in. I like the Dodgers minus $1.20 over 8.5. Orioles Cubs 220 East. Chicago's minus 220, total 7.5. Matthew Boyd for the Cubs, Tomoyuki Sagano for Baltimore. Now, Sagano comes into today's matchup with an ERA of 4.38. These guys, the O's I'm talking about, they're in the bottom 3 in hits allowed per game on the road. And that's bad news for them, bad recipe, because they're facing a dangerous Cubbies lineup of sluggers. Chicago averages 5.3 runs a game. Pete Crow Armstrong, 27 homers, 78 RBI. PCA currently has a WAR, a wins above replacement, of 6.4. That is very good. Meanwhile, Kyle Tucker with 61 ribbies and an on-base percentage nearly in the 400s. Of course, as a team, the Cubs are winning nearly 70% of their interleague home games, doing a great job against American League competition. Now, 7 out of the Cubs' last 10 outings did get over the total. They went 68% to the over in those interleague home games. I like the Cubs minus 1.5 over 7.5 runs. Royals, Blue Jays, 307 East. Toronto's $1.50, totals 8 runs. Max Scherzer for the Blue Jays. Noah Cameron for Kansas City. Now, Cameron's got a winning record on the year with an ERA of 2.44. Of course, the lefty also has a stingy 1.00 whip. And as a team, the Royals are currently on a 3-game winning streak, 7-3 straight up in their last 10. Of course, on the mound, the Royals have definitely thrown well in their travels. They're limiting opposing sluggers to just 3.7 runs a game away from Kauffman Stadium. And they're facing a Toronto club who's certainly struggled with royal pitching. The Jays averaged just 6.3 hits a game in their last 10 meetings with Kansas City. And as far as this season's concerned, the Jays dropped 5 out of their last 6. Now, total-wise, 8 out of Toronto's last 10 gatherings with Kansas City did stay under the total. So if you're into historical trends, plenty of unders to go around. I like the Royals plus 1.5, under 8. Pirates, Rockies, 310 Eastern start. Pittsburgh's minus 220, totals 10. Paul Skeens for the Pirates, Austin Gomber for Colorado. And as bad as Gomber's been, the Rockies have covered the run line in 3 out of their last 4 at Coors Field. And they're taking on a Pittsburgh lineup who's arguably worst in the league. I know they exploded yesterday for a bunch of runs and a loss. They were up, 9-0 after the top of the first and ended up losing the game. But that's not typically indicative of their run production. Listen, like I said, Pittsburgh's got arguably one of the worst hitting lineups in the league. The Pirates are averaging a league worst 2.8 runs a game on the road. That is it. And no real surprise, the Bucs average under 7.1 hits a game in their travels. Of course, starting pitcher Paul Skeens, he's been directly affected by that shittiness at the plate. The righty's got a losing record. He's 6-8 despite a minuscule 1.83 ERA. Now, Pirate games went 7-3 to the under in their last 10. 3 out of Colorado's last 4 at home stayed under the number as well. Certainly not last night, but I think today should stay under. I can't imagine these terrible lineups exploding for that much run production in back-to-back games. I like Colorado plus 1.5, under 10. All right, next matchup should be a good one. Not expecting a ton of scoring. I'm talking about the Tigers against the Phillies. 4:05 Eastern first pitch. Philadelphia's minus $1.15, total 7. And the reason why I'm not expecting a whole lot of scoring, Zach Wheeler on the bump for the Fightins, Tarek Skubal on the mound for Detroit. And like I said, we have all the makings of a pitcher's duel in this one. Skubal's 10-3 on the year with a 2.09 ERA. Now, Scoobs has also punched out 171 batters and currently has a .84 whip. And of course, Philadelphia's Zach Wheeler with nearly identical numbers to Skubal. 172 strikeouts for Wheels. Currently has a .89 whip. Of course, 6 out of the Phil's last 10 meetings with Detroit did stay under the total. So once again, if you're into historical trends, certainly want to think about that one there. I like the under 7 runs. Brewers Nationals 4:05 East. Milwaukee's $1.90. Totals 8.5. Brandon Woodruff for Milwaukee. Jake Irvin for Washington. Now Irvin's got an ERA of 4.69. A bunch of walks for the righty. Of course, as a staff, the Nats have definitely struggled in the nation's capital. They're allowing over 9.3 hits a game at Nationals Park. And they're facing a Milwaukee team who's pounding the baseball on the road. Milwaukee's averaging 9.4 hits a game in their travels, 5.4 runs a game on the road. Christian Yelich, 20 home runs, 70 RBI. William Contreras, on-base percentage of .356. Of course, as a team, the Brew Crew got the W in 4 out of their last 5 ball games. 39 total runs they scored during that span. Now, Milwaukee games went 60% to the over in their last 10, 8-2 to the over in their last 10 meetings with Washington. Give me the Brewers minus 1.5, over 8.5 runs. All right, next matchup, Astros, Red Sox, 4:10 Eastern start. Boston is minus $1.25, totals 9 runs. Walker Buehler for the Red Sox, Colton Gordon for Houston. Now, Gordon comes into today's matchup with an ERA of 4.74. Houston with some struggles over the past week or so. The Stros lost 6 out of their last 8, and they're facing a Boston club who got the W in 6 out of their last 8 themselves. They're 35-21 at Fenway Park. And when the Bo Sox are in Beantown, they love hitting the baseball. 5.3 runs a game they're averaging in their own stadium. Alex Bregman, OPS in the 900s. Trevor Story, club leader in runs batted in. 6 out of the Bo Sox last 10 meetings with Houston did get over the total. I like the Red Sox minus $1.25 over 9. All right, next game, Twins Guardians 4:10 Eastern start. Cleveland's $1.65, total 7.5. Tanner Bybee for the Guardians, Bailey Ober for Minnesota. And as much as Ober's sucked ass this year, he does come into today's start with 74 strikeouts. And the Twins as a team, they are doing a decent job against the run line. I know they pretty much sold, during the trade deadline. They were sellers. But listen, when it comes to the number, not too bad. They covered in 3 out of their last 4 road games. And they do have a winning record against the number in all of their contests away from Target Field. Of course, as a staff, the Twins have shown excellent command on the mound. They're walking fewer batters a game than any other team. And they're facing a Cleveland lineup who averages just 7.4 hits a game at the plate. They're in the bottom 5 in runs per contest. Of course, when it comes to the run line, the Guardians failed to cover in 6 out of their last 10 ball games, losing record against the run line at Progressive Field. Now, total-wise, both squads with unders in 6 out of their last 10, respectively. I like the Twins plus 1.5, under 7.5 runs. All right, next ball game, Yankees Marlins 4:10 East. Miami's $1.20, totals 8. Yuri Perez for the Marlins, Cam Schlittler for New York. The Yankees won their last 3 straight, and, they've been hammering the baseball on the road. New York's averaging over 9.2 hits a game in their travels, top 5 road scoring team. And they're facing a Miami squad who actually plays their worst baseball at Lone Depot Park. They haven't pitched good enough in their own building. Currently, the Marlins are in the bottom 10 in runs allowed per contest. Now, total-wise, 2 out of the Bombers' last 3 road games did get over the number, 7-3 to the over in their last 10 at any location. I like the Yankees plus $1, over 8. All right, Giants-Mets, 4:10 East. New York's the $2 favorite at home, totals 9 runs. Kodai Senga for the Mets, Kai Wei Tang making his debut for the Giants. And these Giants pitchers have definitely... they've thrown quite well away from home. Listen, San Francisco's in the top 5 in strikeouts per game on the road. 7.5 hits allowed in their travels. And they're facing a Mets lineup who definitely struggles at times getting base runners. They're in the bottom 10 in hits per game at the plate. And in their last 10 meetings with the Giants, they've definitely struggled getting on the base paths. They've averaged just 7.9 hits a game during that, stretch of, road games. Home games. Not home games. Head-to-head meetings. Damn it, Brock. Excuse me. Oh, my God. Pay attention, Brock. Listen, let's try to do that segment again. In their last 10 meetings with the Giants, the Mets have struggled getting on the base paths there as well. They average just 7.9 hits a game during that time frame. And listen, no real surprise, the under cashed in 60% of those head-to-head meetings. Of course, Mets games went 7-3 to the under in their last 10 themselves. I like the Giants plus 1.5, under 9. All right, next matchup, Rangers, Mariners, 4:10 Eastern start. Seattle's minus $1.25 at home, total 7.5. Luis Castillo for the M's, Merrill Kelly making his debut for the Rangers. Now, Kelly went 9-6 with the D-backs with 121 strikeouts. He also comes into today's matchup with an ERA in the 3s, along with a 1.06 whip. And he's a great addition to a staff who's been very tough to hit against. The Rangers allowed just 3.6 runs a game. And they're facing a Mariner lineup who, believe it or not, they struggle in their own building. The M's are averaging just 7.2 hits a game at home. Bottom 3 in strikeouts per game on their own diamond. 2 out of the Mariners' last 3 home games did fall under the total. 8-2 to the under in their last 10 at any location. I like the Rangers plus 105, under 7.5. All right, next game, Braves, Reds, 7:15 East. Atlanta's minus $1.20, totals 8 runs. Spencer Strider for the Braves, Chase Burns for Cincinnati. And as bad as Burns has been, the Reds did get the W in 5 out of their last 8 games. They're certainly playing their best baseball at the Great American Ballpark. Of course, on the mound, the Reds are allowing just 7.4 hits a game in front of their own fans. They're facing an Atlanta squad who continues to stink it up on the road. The Braves are a bottom 10 run-scoring team in their travels, 20-36 away from Truist Park. Now, total-wise, 5 out of the Reds' last 6 home games did stay under the number, 8-2 to the under in their last 10 at any location. I like the Reds plus $1, under 8. Diamondbacks, Athletics, 10:05 East. The A's are $1.20, totals 10. JT Ginn for the A's, Zach Gallen for Arizona. And even though Gallen's definitely had his fair share of shaky outings, the righty comes into Saturday's matchup with 7 wins on the year. Arizona has got a gnarly lineup of sluggers. The D-backs are currently in the top 5 in runs per game. Ketel Marte, 20 home runs, OPS of 930. Geraldo Perdomo, on-base percentage of 373. And they're facing an A's club who struggles in their interleague contests. The A's are just 7-12 against the National League at home. And a lot of that's on the pitching. They're giving up over 5.8 runs a game at Sutter Health Park. Bottom 3 in hits allowed as the home team. I like the Diamondbacks plus $1, over 10. White Sox, Angels, 10:07 East. The Angels are minus $1.55, totals 9. Kyle Hendricks for the Angels, Aaron Savali for Chicago. Now, the White Sox got the W in 3 out of their last 4 games, doing a nice job against the run line. The Sox have covered in their last 4 straight on the road, 8-2 against the number in their last 10 at any location. They're facing an Angel pitching staff who's actually walking more batters per 9 than any other team. They're currently in the bottom 5 in runs allowed per game. And starting pitcher Kyle Hendricks comes into today's contest with a losing record along with a 4.73 ERA. Now, 6 out of the Angels' last 10 ball games did get over the total. Chicago contest went 8-2 to the over in their last 10. I like the White Sox plus 1.5, over 9. And with that, folks, we're going to jump into our next and final breakdown for the video. Cardinals, Padres, 10:10 Eastern start. San Diego's $1.45, totals 8.5. Randy Vasquez for the Pods, Michael McGreevy for St. Louis. Now, McGreevy's got just 2 wins on the year, and the Cards are currently on a 3-game skid. And out of the Redbirds' last 10 ball games, they took the loss in all of those contests except for 3. They were actually shut out 3 times during that stretch. St. Louis is also playing their worst baseball on the road, just 12-25 against National League opponents in their travels. Of course, at the plate, the Cards are in the bottom 10 in runs per game when they bat first. And they're facing a Padres team who's definitely been tough to hit against this year at Petco Park. They're limiting opposing sluggers to under 7.1 hits a game at home. Actually, just 3.3 runs a game they give up on their own field. And out of 35 contests against National League opponents at home, the Pods have posted a record of 26-9. That's a 743 win percentage in that category. Of course, we could see more of the same out of starter Randy Macho Man Vasquez. He comes into today's start with an ERA in the 3s. Of course, Padres games went 7-3 to the under in their last 10. St. Louis with unders in 8 out of their last 10 themselves. I like the Padres minus 145, under 8.5. And with that, folks, now it's time for our quick pick recap. Give me the Dodgers minus 120 over 8.5. Cubs minus 1.5 over 7.5 runs. We're hitting at 75% in our last 13 board member plays on my premium page. Kansas City plus 1.5 under 8. Rockies plus 1.5 under 10. I like the under 7 in that Tigers-Phillies matchup. Brewers minus 1.5 over 8.5. Red Sox minus $1.25 over 9. Minnesota plus 1.5 under 7.5 runs. Yankees plus $1 over 8. Giants plus 1.5 under 9. Rangers plus 105 under 7.5. Cincinnati plus $1 under 8. Diamondbacks plus $1 over 10. White Sox plus 1.5 over 9. Give me the Padres minus 145 under 8.5. And with that, folks, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my premium page. But most importantly, folks, got to thank you for joining me right here on the free video. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, folks, happy Saturday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my premium page.